Hello, all you wonderful people out there in the dark. Thank you again for checking in. Today is part 2 of the Ryan's artwork series. And as you may have guessed, we're going to focus on Don Quixote. Now I have a number of pieces that hang on my wall, some wood carvings of Don Quixote and his loyal sidekick Sancho. I have a tie, I have a bookmark, I have a couple of tattoos, and I wanted to share some of this artwork with you. But before we get to that, as always, a little brief history on this wonderful novel. So, back in 1605, so ways back, this cat, Miguel de Cervantes, writes a book called The Ingenious Gentleman Don Quixote of La Mancha, known today as just Don Quixote. It's a very large book. If you've not read it, I highly recommend it. The book, without giving away too many spoilers, it basically centers around an older gentleman who reads a lot of books about chivalry, and he decides he's going to become a knight errant and go and save damsels in distress, rescue people, and go on all these misadventures. And he convinces the simple farmer that lives by him, Sancho Panza, one of the greatest characters of all of literature. And I don't know anybody who doesn't need a Sancho in their life. Anybody. So he convinces Sancho to come along with him, and they basically go on all these adventures. I think the overarching theme of the book really is not to see the world as it is, but to sort of shape it into your own version. You're all very familiar with one of his famous adventures where he's fighting windmills that he believes to be giants. And in the novel, Sancho even comments and says, sir, those aren't giants, those are windmills. And Quixote responds at some point and says, Sancho, you don't have any sense of adventure. And I think that's a telling point in the book, that even Quixote is somewhat aware of his own deception to himself. He's choosing to see the world as he wants to see it. And I think that theme has transcended the last 400 years. Just if you look at Walt Disney, Disneyland and Walt Disney World, these are places of fantasy. Most books, not all, but most books, music, plays, movies and television, they're all escapism from whatever reality hell we might be living in. We even have the word, Quixotic, representing Quixote. They created an actual word to express that theme, I guess. But if you haven't read the book, you should go read it. Here's my copy, illustrated by the great artist Salvador Dali, my favorite artist. I've got a couple of paperbacks. I have 4 or 5 paperbacks. I think as I find them, I buy them. I don't know if that's healthy or not, but I've got 4 or 5. I actually have a leather-bound edition somewhere too. And what's kind of interesting is this novel by Charlotte Lennox. It's currently titled The Female Quixote, but it was written in 1752, and at that time it was called The Adventures of Arabella. And I recently discovered this. My friend and I, Carrie, were discussing another friend who's getting ready to have a baby, a little girl, and I believe, if memory serves, she was going to name her Lennox. And we thought that was an odd name. Initially, we thought Annie Lennox, but she's a reader, so one thing led to another, and we stumbled upon this Charlotte Lennox, and lo and behold, The Adventures of Arabella is basically a female Quixote. I bought the book, and as soon as I finished whatever I'm currently reading, I'm going to crack it, and I'll let you know how it goes. But enough of that. Let's go take a look at some of the artwork that hangs on these walls here. So this one here, this is Don Quixote number 5 by Alvin Hollingworth. Alvin was born in 1928. He passed away in 2000. But he came to fame in the 40s and 50s as a comic book illustrator for Crime Comics and I think Avon Comics. I see his signature there. This lithograph is number 53 of 375. You can see Sancho there in the background. Everybody loves Sancho. And then obviously Dulcinea and Don Quixote. I actually have number 2 as well, though it's in a tube. I haven't had an opportunity to get it framed. But these portraits, the series, I think there's 6 or 7 of them, were done from 1977 to 1980. But take a look here. I'll show you a picture of number 2. I call this one blue. Number 2, as you'll see here in a moment, is red. So this particular Quixote is by a Cuban artist. Unfortunately, I don't know anything about him or her. I actually bought it off a street vendor for, I don't know, $10 or $15. I don't remember. But it is an oil painting. I saw it, and as usual, I had to have it, and now I have it. So this particular one is just needlepoint. This is probably from the mid to late 70s. Come close here. Hopefully you can kind of see I guess it's yarn, thread. I really don't know what it is. But as usual, I found it, and I really liked it. So now it hangs proudly in my home. So this particular piece is actually basswood. The artist is George Updegraff, and he did this in 1983. You can see it's Don Quixote on his trusty steed, Rocinante. It's a single piece of wood, and George carved it down. Get in close here, I think I can show you his signature. And again, this is from 1983. I think it's somewhat rare. Over the years, I've had this for some time. I've never found another one, but it's one I really enjoy. So these 2 pieces are actually from a copy of Don Quixote, the novel, that was illustrated by Salvador Dali. Someone some time ago removed a couple of the illustrations and had them matted, and I bought them and put them in these frames. Salvador Dali is my favorite artist, and Don Quixote being my favorite book, how could I resist? So the next 2 pieces are by a cat named Juan Castos Martí, a Spanish artist from, I think he was born in 1906, and he lived till 1991 or so. This is a woodcut print, but again, you can see, Quixote, Sancho riding somewhere. You can see here, Don Quixote in Barcelona, and signature. And the next piece here is Don Quixote fighting what he believes to be giants, and of course they are simply windmills. There's our good friend Sancho, I'm sure wondering why the hell he follows Don Quixote around. But again, woodcut print. I've had these for a number of years as well. I actually bought them at an antique store, I don't know, 30 years ago probably. So this particular Don Quixote is obviously a print of the famous Pablo Picasso painting from 1955. This is actually just a piece of tin or metal that someone has got some ceramic fired on it. I always thought it was very colorful and interesting. And again, just part of my Don Quixote collection. So this one here is by a gentleman called Attilano. I believe he's an Italian illustrator that lives in North Mexico. And this is all colored pencils. See his signature there. Actually, I have another piece of his that's quite large. I don't know when this was drawn or illustrated, but I like it quite a lot. But let me show you his other piece here. So as I mentioned, my other Attilano is right here. And I believe this is like a charcoal pencil and some other colored pencils. It's very large. You can see the two typewriters there. Kind of gives you an idea of the scale. I'm going to try to get close here to see if I can capture some of the line work. Don't know if you can see. You can see some of the gold pencil and obviously the charcoal pencil. But it is absolutely, at least to me, magnificent. And you stare at it long enough, you'll swear he's blinking at you. And as you can see there, he's got the helmet of Mombrino, the shaving basin. It's just one of my favorite pieces. I guess I say they're all my favorites, but certainly the biggest portrait of Don Quixote in this house. One other thing that I have I guess a large collection of is Don Quixote wood statues. Here's one here. I don't know any of the artists in particular. I think these are all kind of like flea market buys from the 50s, 60s, and 70s. This one's from the 70s. I picked them because of their uniqueness. This one here actually belonged to my parents, and this was a toy of mine when I was a child. The staff he has is actually broke off. I'm assuming I broke it. It was probably a spear, and my old man made it just look like a staff. And we've got one more here. Again, these are all going to be from the 50s, 60s, and 70s, I believe. Let me show you a couple more. Another Quixote and Sancho. These are some smaller wood carvings. Again, probably from the 50s or 60s. But this is a matching set. Kind of fun. Here are a couple more wood statues. A smaller version of the one that I had when I was a child. You can see the spear is complete on that one. And Don Quixote reading a book. Here's one here. It's actually one of my favorites just because it's so different. It's actually from Spain. Again, I'm gonna say 60s. And then we've got one right here that's quite unique. Don Quixote talking to Sancho, I'm sure convincing him to go on many, many adventures. So here are two more wood statues, Don Quixote and Sancho yet again. These are actually from Italy. I don't know the time frame, but as usual, I'm guessing 50s, 60s, 70s, somewhere in there. This is a sculpture of Don Quixote and Sancho Panza riding his trusty donkey, and Don Quixote is on his trusty steed Rocinante. This is bronze, but it's the only actual sculpture I have, I suppose. But there you go, Don Quixote and Sancho Panza. So last, but certainly not least, this is my largest, I guess, statue or wood carving. Don Quixote sitting on a log. I've not seen another one like it, although I'm sure others exist. I don't know what type of wood this is. I do know it is not a single carved piece. The legs, torso, and arms were all carved separately, as well as the head, and they're held together with simple nails. But it is a fascinating and beautiful piece in person. I don't know that the camera captures how nice it actually is, but fun just the same. So here is that Don Quixote tie I was speaking of. You can see Don Quixote on his trusty steed, Rosinante. And for the record, it's Italian, Via di Oro, 100% polyester. And yes, this is from the 70s. And then my bookmark. Though most of my books are on a Kindle and a bookmark is unnecessary, so it seems sort of silly. But I have one. Although as I look at his spear, that seems mildly phallic. But nonetheless, bookmark and tie. So this is the album cover of Man of La Mancha, which is a play that's based off the Don Quixote novel. It starred Richard Kiley. This is the mid-60s, as you can see, Best Musical, 1966. Though I've never seen Richard Kiley perform it, I have seen the play, and as a kid, my parents had this 8-track, and we played it over and over and over, and I have every song memorized. It's my favorite play. Oddly enough, I actually have the album before it was voted Best Musical of 1966. As you can see, the blue sticker is not on this particular cast recording like it is here. I know, I'm a weirdo. So here is the poster for the Man of La Mancha revival from 2002, starring Brian Stokes Mitchell as Don Quixote, Mary Elizabeth Mastrantonio as Dulcinea, and Ernie Sabella as Sancho. Again, 2002, and this was the play written by Dale Wasserman, adapted from the book Don Quixote. If you've not seen the play or heard the music, run to your radio and listen. Okay, so there's my tattoo of Don Quixote. One of my tattoos, I guess I should say. And then my second tattoo, you can kind of see the windmill there. And Sancho. Well, let's just kind of, if we do this, it'll be upside down, but there you can see Don Quixote. You know what? Maybe we should go to a mirror. So here we go in the mirror. Don Quixote, Sancho, and the windmill. And then, of course, Don Quixote himself. Oh, you're back. So there you have it. My collection. I hope you enjoyed taking a look at it. I enjoyed sharing it with you. Please, again, if you've not read the novel, take the time, even if it's an audiobook. It is a big, long book. It's well worth your time. And if you have an opportunity to see the play Man of La Mancha, go right now. Go find it, go see it. Go to Google Play, go to whatever the Amazon one is, go whatever mode you get music from, ask it to play the soundtrack to Man of La Mancha. You will not regret it. Anyway, in this world, when you can be anything you want, you be kind, you be humble, you be forgiving, and you be melting snow.